Okay.
Okay, you guys, I was really proud to try that little intro. I got to work with it a little bit, but what up? Welcome to Queen's Glean. This is an opportunity where after we have Kings Speak, the women have a chance to get together and kind of chit chat in the same manner and talk about all the things that the men talked about on Kings Speak. So have you ever said something that you regret to a family member, a lover, or your spouse? So today we'll talk about the power of the tongue and how that can be used to either curse us and screw up our lives or, help people out. But we're going to learn about how it is to be careless with your words. And of course, couldn't be Queen's Glean without my queens. So we have Key Renee and Keandra in the building. Let me bring in my queens. Yes. Yes. Hey, beauties. Oh, I can't hear anybody. Oh, there we go.
We were both muted.
Yeah, I muted myself.
I was like, no, not again. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Lovely.
So good. So glad you guys could be here today. You guys both look beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. So like usual, we could dive right in. We have 3 topics. So the first topic is your words reflect your belief. The second topic is wow. Yeah, that's the topic. And the third topic is what you're resonating with. So why don't we dive right in? And in order to start this, it would be great if we just kind of honored the dude our king that spoke on Tuesday. So any gratitude or blessings or anything that you were grateful for, we'll start with you, Key Renee, when it comes to Anthony. D. Bryce, did you learn something? Did you think he was great?
Well, I mean, we're gonna dive into this wow thing. So I mean, I feel like a lot of men don't even think the way that he thinks, like even in terms of just like that section, like thinking about like taking it back, like, why am I angry? Like all these things, most men just lash out or, they don't consider those. So for him to be like a man who considers the feelings of the opposite sex when in a moment when you may not feel, or to me, I always think it's when you're feeling a little bit insecure about the situation. When you think about the other person, I think I want to give you some, hands down, because a lot of men do not think about the other, the other party when they are in their little feelings, So I definitely appreciate that.
Very true. Shout out to Anthony for that. What you think, Keandra?
I think that it is amazing that he is so legacy focused. Like the fact that he is doing a book that is focused on speaking life, speaking positivity, speaking to the king level for children, for boys, in particular, but children of, any age and any child. I think that that's amazing. So, shout out to him for having a sense of like urgency with leaving something behind, especially during this time when just everything's just been turned upside down. And he just felt like, no, I need to make an impact. And this book is going to be what will be a part of it. So shout out to you, Anthony.
I love it. Yes, Anthony D. Bryce, he's amazing. He's an amazing author. He's a good person. He was the first person I interviewed for King Speak. And again, King Speak is all about highlighting king level men, honorable men, men that are gentlemen, men that are thinking about legacy, forward thinking, caring, and all of these things. So I just love to see that what we all love about him is in alignment with, being on that level. You feel me? So here for it. All right. So let's just dive right in. I mean, he really got me with this. Your words reflect your beliefs. So he was saying that your words are a reflection of your belief, and ultimately what you believe decides your life, actions, what you do, and what you achieve. So, I mean, if something's out of alignment with what you believe, it'll always manifest pain. And that pain will inspire a verbal expression, whether it's a complaint, a grief, protest, you argue. So how do you think, do we curse our lives when we continuously complain about a thing, or is it more important to vent and have a catharsis and get it out? Like, what do you think?
I think that stuff is true. Like, I think, especially speaking since I'm like an entrepreneur and like coming from like entrepreneur mindset, the words that you speak really can manifest in like your real life. I remember when I first, like, this was maybe like, what could you say, like maybe like 2016, 2017. I used to always tell myself, like, I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to make money. And I would cry all the time. And I would just be like, I just don't know how to make money. It's just that I don't know. And I remember my friend was like, no, you don't know how to make money because you keep saying you don't know how to make money. Like, you're telling yourself that you don't know how to make money. So therefore, you don't know how to make money. But if you would just quit saying that out loud and putting it into the universe, and you would change your mindset to know, I don't know what's going on in this situation, so I need to figure out the solution. And then your mind can, start shifting to solutions and those, and then now you're not cursing yourself. And then all of a sudden you wake up like, oh shit, I just made like $300 today by doing nothing. Oh, I guess I can make some money. So it's like, I definitely agree with that 100%. Like, you can literally sabotage your entire life, whether it's through your career, your love life, whatever, just by the words that you're like speaking out into the world. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And then the other part of it that I saw or believe, like, while we absolutely do have the power to create our experiences, but the other end of it is, I think that the scripture is, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so basically everything that you're speaking is really just a reflection of what it is that's in your heart. And our hearts, I believe, is the seat of our perception, the seat of our beliefs. And so what you're saying is basically showing and expressing what it is that you ultimately believe. And so if it isn't in alignment with, the life that you want or what it is that you're wanting to create, then that's basically an opportunity to either get into alignment, to heal, to it basically is just, it's showing like the wounds, the things that you believe, the things that you feel, and just what your ultimate perception is about life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with both of you. And as I was saying in the interview, it's kind of like twofold, because it's like, oh, this is happening because I keep saying it. But at the same time, there has to be something said about why I'm saying it. And it, like you said, if what I'm saying is flowing out of the heart, then that is alert. That's a trigger for me to like pay attention and be like, well, why am I saying this and where did it come from? And let me get to the root of why it's coming out like that. It's not really what I believe. It's not what I really want, but I'm saying it anyway. I mean, just a little confession. When I'm on my cycle, that little week before, y'all, like, I need to muzzle myself, okay? Because yes, I feel like I need to muzzle myself or take some hormone pill. I'm just gonna be straight up, because I don't know what it is that happens with my hormones, but it just makes me, I don't know, I just be feeling like I want to cry and complain, and sometimes stuff don't even be wrong. Like, I'll be complaining about something that's fine. Like, girl, you're fine. But you just, I don't understand. Like, and I think I'm just trying to work that out. But I have recently noticed that I really need to watch my words during that little week before my cycle, because I think I'm probably just sabotaging my whole life, like, in a week, every 28 days.
Well, girl, look, I know that week before my period, I turn into a straight crazy chick. I think that week before my period is when I'm always reminding myself that I'm single.
Oh my God.
Like, that'd be the week when I'd be like, yo, why am I not in a relationship? Like, where's my man? Like, God, what are we doing today? And then I'll be like, I'll get off my period, like, oh, I'm good.
I'm good.
Like, you start hitting up everybody, like, who wants to go on a date with me? What is going on? Like, and then like after the period, it's like, oh, whatever. Like, all right, back to life.
I don't know what that's about, but I'm really going to work on it, because the more I think about the power of our words, that's why I chose this one, because I'm an author, because I'm like, in my right mind, I'm all about it. But when things are off, it's just very challenging. It has been challenging, and it's something that I'm working on, that in that menstrual cycle, I need to set alarms. I need to get snacks. I need to take some vitamins, and I need to close my mouth. I just need to close my mouth. Because this last time I was like, oh my God, has this been what's been happening all these years? You know what I'm saying? Just because, okay, girl, I was like,
But see, I think the thing is like, right, men or whoever you're projecting this energy onto, they know the deal. They get it. Like and if they don't get it, they're acting like they don't. Because I can say, like, my male friends, they be like, girl, we know what's going on. It's okay. You got how many more days you got? Like, you know, like they be like, it's okay. We get it. Okay. What do you need to cry? Oh, okay. Come on. Why are you crying today? I don't know. I'm just sad. Oh, okay. What day of the month is it? Oh, okay, I get it.
And it could be too, like, ladies, just to give, because I'm the same way, to give ourselves a little bit of grace. It could be that, because just like you were saying, Key, like after that, the first week of PMS, then you're good. So it's not necessarily that you're really believing it. It just seems to be a moment, right? Like I don't really know what it is either, because I get the same way. It just complaining, just, like irritable, just aggravated, just going in. And, it is definitely hormones. It plays into what it is that we're eating. Like there's so many things are just wrapped up into it. And so I think that there's just some grace that we can give ourselves where it's like, okay, this isn't necessarily like our real reality. Like it's not exactly what we believe. Like we're just having a moment.
Yeah.
We're having a moment. Like let's, we'll be all good in 5 to 7 days.
And this is so randomly off topic, but I have like a question for both of you guys.
yeah.
So, and it's going to be very random, but when I turned 30, my period went from 3 days to 6 days. Is that like normal? And I was like, yo, is God punishing me? Like,
wow.
I don't know. And not to put like your business out there, but I don't know if you're on any birth control or like, if there's any additional hormones that you're either adding through like, again, foods, and even, through like birth control itself, that can play a role, but you said that you're not doing that. So mine didn't necessarily, get longer. The days that I'm on it isn't longer, but the frequency has gotten shorter, if that makes any sense. Like, as opposed to it being 28, it's like 26. And so for me, that was kind of like the weird, or just the different thing that I noticed, like, as I, got a little bit more mature.
As the birthdays kept going by.
As the birthdays kept going, around the sun.
It's contributed to 3 extra days of craziness a month. So.
Man, I mean, for me, to be honest, I think it's more, I can't remember if in my early day, because I don't know if I was as conscious, if my attitude was as off the chain, but now I notice I be having a damn attitude. Okay. Like it be like bad. So I think my attitude got worse, if anything, but my cycle is always every 28 days. It's like clockwork, but it's it's a little bit shorter. It's like the first 2 days are heavy and then it kind of trails off for the last 3. So I don't know. Mine actually is opposite than yours, Key. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, God's punishing me. I get it.
No, I think it's healthy though. I think having a 5-day flow is very healthy. So I have Sunny Rose in the chat. She said, why can't I scroll? She said, the hormones though. And then she said, period grace. That's good. Take a nap and relax. You know what? Easier said than done. I might mess around and need a whole accountability partner.
Man. And
because
so things, maybe we need to get on that.
Seriously.
But
like
see, then this is going to be the thing. Are we going to want to be accountable for each other when we're irritable?
There's that.
There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to remind, because if I knew, just take a break, relax, take a nap, I would do that. But there's something about that cloudiness of the mind where you're just going through the days and you're showing up. And, I really say pretty irrational things. And it's mostly to myself, about myself and my situation. But that's not helping. And as much as I want to. What?
Oh, sorry. So that's what I was thinking, because this was like an exercise that I had did with like a group. So you can literally set a timer on your phone, right? So you set a reminder. It's like in your notes or whatever. And you could write 3 positive sentences that you want to repeat on those days. and time it to come up and pop up on your phone as a reminder 3 times a day for the entire days of your period. So throughout the day, you'll be getting reminders like, you are beautiful. Keep going, sis. Yada, yada, yada. Like, you know, and literally throughout the week of your period, when you feel however you feel, your phone is randomly going to go off at 2:00 that says, you're
Relax.
beautiful, sis. Relax. Like, you know, you're on your period. It's okay. Like, you know, and I don't know, that might work because that's like an exercise that like this like female entrepreneur group that I'm in, like they set those reminders 30 days a week. Each month they remind themselves something new each month, and they set the reminders like twice a day, and different things will just pop up and it's like a little cute exercise. But that might work. I don't know.
No, I love it. I'm all about it. I actually read a book by Brendon Burchard, and he put that in there. So I had it in there for the business tip.
Oh,
but I'm gonna need to. Yeah, I'm gonna need it. Like, what is it? Highly performing habits of high performing people, or whatever, some kind of book like that. But you're right. Like when it comes to business, I do it. Like, I'm wealthy. I can do this. I can do it. Now I need to be like, relax. You're safe. You're straight. Calm down. Like,
yeah, it's just Aunt Flo.
You're not hungry.
Right.
Don't order that burger.
Right. And you ain't crazy either. Stay on the ledge.
Yes.
Y'all, because it gets nuts. Well, I mean, that's good. And I love to bring that up with our cycle, because obviously that's something different between men and women. And I definitely plan on being full disclosure with whatever man I end up in. I'm gonna need him to put it in his calendar as well. If I say something sideways, like, please help me help us. Like, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm not whatever. Like, this is an area I genuinely need help in. And I'm okay with verbalizing that, or else he gonna be like, ooh, she disrespectful.
Well, like, I don't know. I have a smart mouth on all the days, even outside of the 30 days. So I'm gonna let people know right now, like, this mouth, it gets smart on the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, all the days.
The 16th, the 19th.
Like, it's no game. So
I literally remember being popped upside my head as a child because of my mouth.
Oh, I was about to say, girl.
No, my parents would just be like, oh, they'd say something, and then here go my little sly mouth, and it'd be like, pop, like, you just pop, like, stop. You know what I'm saying?
So back to stay talking back.
Yeah,
Ain't much change. Ain't much change.
I more so got in trouble for like telling people the truth. Like, you know,
oh, interesting.
Like that was like, my aunt would be like, oh, we can't bring her around. She gonna just say, she just don't know how to just not say what's on her mind. And I'd be like, my bad. I just thought you should know.
Right. So, I mean, that is one way to use your words. Sometimes, like, I find myself, I think I'm real and I'm honest, but I do know that I'm very cautious about trying to tailor my words around people's personality. And sometimes that's cool. But sometimes I wish I could just say what I mean and not tap dance around it. But sometimes I'm very overly cautious about how a certain person is going to receive information. So, I mean, I try to use my words to the best of my ability to not be abrasive, but to keep it real if it's really something that needs to be addressed. So I don't know. Are you working your words, or are you just kind of like, girl?
You know, I'm getting better because like throughout you know, like high school and all that stuff, I used to literally walk around and always say this, which means I must have been doing too much. But I remember always saying, like, I don't cater to emotions. Like, I'm just going to tell you what I want. And I used to always be like, nope, I don't cater to emotions. I don't care how you feel. I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to just tell you. Now, to this day, I still just say how I feel.
Okay.
I still just say how I feel, but I just feel like I'm a very honest person. So it's like, if I feel like you need to be told something, I'm just going to tell you. Now, I'm going to try my best to say it in the sweetest way, and I'm not going to assert something if you didn't ask for it. But if you ask for it, then I'm going to try to be as honest with you as I can, because I would never want to be like that person who didn't tell you the truth and let you like walk around with like tissue on your leg, or like, you know, some hair jam in your head, too much crusty, and then you get mad because no one said it, but then, or you get mad at me because I was like, girl, you're a little crusty right there, girl. let me help you out. And I will always give you a solution to whatever I like tell you. If I gotta tell you what I gotta tell you, I promise you there will be a solution at the end of it.
Sounds productive to me. Like that works. What do you think, Keandra? Do you have not a problem, but do you feel like you adjust the way you tell people when you're telling it like it is, or do you have any thoughts in that area?
I absolutely adjust it. And I think a lot of the reasons why I adjust it is because of the work I do. Like I'm an HR, professional, and then also as a coach. And so I can sometimes see what the truth is. And I know that people aren't really ready to receive it, or they can't receive it in the blunt way, or just as unprofessional to kind of be like, who the F you think you're talking to? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like depending on certain situations. And so, sometimes I can admit that I might be a little too concerned about my delivery. But I know that if I don't think about it, that it literally will just come out very blunt. And I have been known and have been told that, like, if I say something a certain way, it's like, oh, well, damn, and it's like, I didn't mean it like that.
Well, damn.
Like, I didn't mean it in the negative way. I just said it without much tone inflection, or you know what I mean? Like, and so it can basically, tone is a big thing for people. And so I do find myself kind of adjusting the way that I say things sometimes. And that's, I don't know. I don't know if it's too much, but I do know there are times when I can be a little bit more direct and not be too concerned with how people receive it. Because sometimes, even if I'm saying it in love, I think I have to also preface that and not be so concerned with like the way that it lands and if it hurts someone's feelings. If it's the truth and it's someone that, is able to receive, that kind of like loving, honest, brutal truth from me, then hopefully they would know, like, look, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but whatever it might be. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm here for it. I think there's a nice balance for both because, okay, real quick, Sunny Rose in the chat said, put positive stuff in your man's calendar too. Yeah, that's gonna be smart. Like, remember, you love me. Remember, I'm cute.
Right?
I'm sweet. Remember,
I like my steaks medium.
Yeah.
Remember, you ordered those flowers for me this morning.
Yeah, like, and remember. So when it comes to delivery, like, how can a woman know when she's operating as a communicator rather than a complainer? Because sometimes that's why, and we'll talk about this in our next topic with the wow, or we can kind of include that in here. But how do you know when you're communicating versus complaining? Because when your emotions are involved and you're just trying to keep it real, or for me personally, I kind of have to process my thoughts a little bit, or else I will sound like, but I'm feeling like this and I don't know why, and I don't, because I didn't have a chance to reel all that in and then communicate like an adult. So sometimes I need time, or I will sound like I'm complaining to my man because it's just all coming up. So what do you think is the difference between knowing if you're complaining or being a good communicator when it comes to your relationships with a man?
No, that's tough.
It is what Key had spoken to is, here we go, is when there's actually a solution or some type of a compromise or something else that is at the end of whatever it is that I'm saying, and I think that's just a core difference between women and men. Women, we process as we're talking. And so sometimes there's not enough time to be, to internalize everything and kind of process and filter out what needs to be said and what doesn't. And so a lot of times the clarity or other points and all those things will come up as we're talking. And so I think that some of that is just the nature of how we are and how we communicate. But I think one of the main differences and ways we can tell the difference is if there's actually a point to it. And sometimes it's okay to not have a point. Like, I think everybody
sometimes ain't gonna be no point.
Sometimes there just isn't a point. Like, sometimes I just want to vent and need to vent.
Yeah, no, I think that's the perfect answer. If you have, like he said earlier too, a solution or something to offer at the end, I feel like that makes it, we can go back and ask the men and make sure, I'm pretty sure they know and they're on point with it. But yeah, sometimes I'm gonna need to vent. Sometimes I might just be like, ugh. And sometimes it's like, this is something that bothers me. And here's what would not bother me if whatever. Because men are fixers. They're logical thinkers. They just want to get to the point. So maybe even we could disclaimer or preface, like, I just need to vent real quick. So that while we're venting, they're not up there trying to figure out every solution to every little thing that we're doing, because it's just emotions. Like, let me just get this out. And if you could be a good listener, like, that'd be great. Like, I think they'd be working overtime trying to fix the venting.
Yeah.
Two different things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a friend who's really good at like distinguishing like when I'm venting or when I'm complaining. Then he'll be like, "You're complaining, shut up." And I'll be like, "Oh,
But I'm not done.
okay." Or like, or he'll be like he'll let me like ramble for like 10 minutes, and then he'll be like, "All right, are you done? You seemed upset, so I want to just let you get that out." And I'll just be like, oh, is that what it was? Like, yeah, are you good now? All right, get back to work. All right, I'll call you later. I was like, okay. All right, let me get back to work. I guess I was upset a little bit. All right, I guess I'm gonna be okay. I will be okay. Let me.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it just depends on who's receiving the information and if they're able to like distinguish it with you and for you. Because I don't know what the difference if I'm complaining or just venting. Like, to me, I feel like I'm always venting. Like, it's never a complaint. It's always just a vent. Like, I'm just venting. And I think maybe the difference would be, like, the only thing I can think about is if you've mentioned it more than once or more than twice, more than 3 times, and you still haven't solved it, now you're complaining.
That makes sense.
If if after the 3rd or 4th time you keep having the same conversation or you keep having this same issue, it's now you're complaining because you've already had 3 times in this conversation to fix it, but you still haven't addressed it. So now it's just complaining. Like, what are you going to do about it at this point? Now you're just complaining.
Yeah, that's good, Key. And I think venting kind of just like the opposite of that would be maybe going on a processing or just expressing based on something that you can't control. Because I know a lot of times when I'm venting, it's about, what's happened during the day. And it could be, somebody that cut me off on a 405 or, like just, I could just be recounting my day and it's just venting on all the things. But it's like, I can't really control somebody else's driving or, like gossiping coworkers or, you know what I mean? Like whatever the case may be, I can't necessarily control those things. So the vent is maybe in the area where it's like, it bothers me for whatever reason, but I have feeling the need to have to share and express on it, even though I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. It kind of takes us directly into our next topic, our wow topic. Okay. So
wow.
Wow. Because that's how I feel like.
So silly.
So extra. Wow. So where we get this wow topic is something very interesting and amazing that Anthony brought up in the King Speak interview. He said there is a way to be mindful of your words when you're angry and even when you're on your cycle, because I had to bring that up. I know he don't know about it, but I was like, sir. He suggested a quick exercise that he uses, which is why, how, what. So that's where we get the wow. W, how, W, wow. So he stops, takes a breath, and is like, why am I angry about this thing? How serious is this thing? And based on what I can control, what can I do about it? Very sensible and logical technique. What do you guys think about implementing this technique?
It sounds good.
Amen.
That doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. No.
Right.
In the moment, though, I don't know if like that. I feel like that comes with like some real deep training before you can be in the moment and be like, hold up, wow. How do I feel like? Like, how do I feel? Why am I angry? Like, and then like, kind of like, I don't know. It's like if the world could stop and be like, wow. And it's like, okay, wait. Like, like, I don't know. It's just like when you're like a little kid and like, they do that count to 5, or if you're angry, like in the anger management programs. I wasn't in them, but I just remember people in my household had to go.
I was like, I don't remember that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, so
there was like exercise.
It was like this anger management thing that like I don't remember which sibling had to do it, but it was like they had to do this thing where like if they would get angry, they would have to like count to 5, and it was like a count to 5 before you make, and like it didn't work, but it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Keandra?
I think it's a good tool. I think it is a good tool. I think it can be used in certain like maybe not a heated moment, because it does I think, like your instinct is going to be more the fight or flight, not necessarily the processing of why you're there. But, in a relationship, I can think about, just me being in one, and there are moments when I can be mad about something and I'll have a couple of days, to kind of think about it or to kind of, like there basically hasn't really been a moment yet to really like discuss and bring whatever it is to the table. So from that perspective, then it's like, okay, let me think about what is it specifically that I'm upset about? Like, why am I here? Am I triggered from something that's happened between us or, something else? And this just happens to be, adding to it. How did we get here?
How serious is this
how
thing?
serious is it? I think that's a good thing too, because especially in a relationship dynamic, because it can be oftentimes like small little arguments that basically build up on top of each other. And then the next thing you know, it's like 3 weeks and you guys haven't talked, or, you haven't been intimate or whatever the case may be. And it's kind of like, what is it that led us here? You know what I mean? And it could be something that's small that built up on top of something else. And so when you really unravel it, it ultimately really wasn't that serious, but because it wasn't addressed initially, then it's become more serious than it really is. And so, sometimes it's not even an offense that the person meant, like, so I think that actually is a good thing to kind of think about when you have the opportunity to do so, of like, okay, is it really this serious, or is it something that's more of a buildup?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And side note, speaking of build up, those of you that are here, we want you to stay to the end of the show because we do have a news and gossip segment. And we got to talk about this build up between Candiace and Monique and this Real Housewives of Potomac situation. This is still a relationship. This is still something that popped off because of these words. So we want you to stick around and hear about that. And we want you to weigh in. But what I was going to say about this technique is I thought about it for a while, and a couple of things. One, I really feel like a way that I can practice to kind of make this technique more of second nature is I've been trying to, as often as possible, breathe between each task I have to do. So I don't hop up at the computer, throw my shoes on, go to the store, come back, cook a meal, did it. No. Once I'm off the computer, I give myself at least 60 seconds, which can be challenging if you're a busybody like me. I'm ready to go. Okay, I'd be ready to go. So for me to like sit down for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, I'm already trying to cut it down, 60 seconds and just breathe. And then consciously go into the next activity. I feel like working that muscle as much as I can will allow me in a heated moment to have worked that muscle enough to at least stop to breathe. If I can at least stop to breathe, hopefully that few seconds buys me a moment before something comes out of my mouth that I can't pull back. I think I've gotten a lot better, but I can appreciate with dating. I love the dating phase. I think it's so important because we don't live together and we're not right on top of each other. And when I'm feeling some kind of way, I'm so happy to have time to process, because every relationship is different. We grow in between relationships, but to actually start implementing the stuff that we learned and going through this back and forth with somebody and actually being in the zone, I need a little bit of time to pace myself and to understand, to see what comes up, to see why I'm reacting. Like, I really have gotten accustomed to spending a lot of time with me to just make sure I'm feeling centered. So I'm all about the technique, but I think the first thing that I need to implement is to make sure I'm breathing, because you can get a lot done in that power of pause. There's this nice little breath in there before all of the, Sunny Rose in the comments said, post trauma, post the heat of the moment, do the wow. That's even more practical. So after the heat of the moment, well, yeah, I mean,
if you make it past the heat,
if you make it past
the heat, then we gonna wow, we gonna wow.
There is that.
I think your breathe technique to me sounds more attainable today in this moment. and then getting yourself to a point where you can be in a moment and think of, okay, wait a minute, let me process. Why am I even screaming at this man?
Mhm.
Like, but the first part is cool because I know me and the way that my mouth works. The moment I am like a quick listener, and I'm like, maybe because I do, we do interviews and stuff. I'm always when I'm listening to someone, I'm processing your sentence and I'm already thinking about my comeback.
Correct.
So when I'm in like a situation, if I hear something I don't want to hear, or I feel like what you're speaking don't make sense to the logic of what I was just saying, I'm already cut you off. I'm gonna stop listening, and I'm gonna just let you know. So it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like, wait a minute, like, what is going on? He was on target. Let him get his thought. And I'm like, nah, bro, your thought, I can already tell it's going in the direction that I'm not liking. So I'm gonna end it now. We're gonna take it back to my point. So maybe I need to
come on, baby, we coming back over here.
We're coming back. So maybe I need to myself get into your 60-second breather between processing what's going on and actually like, and then we'll get to the wow.
Yeah. I think that'll work. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit of consciousness. I love it. And it makes sense. And this is why I love bringing this stuff up, because men and women are different. It might seem very logical because I have been around men, even or people like my dad, like, you're so cool headed. And I guess your emotions don't run like mine because I'm lit. So it's different. And but I like understanding those differences. And I'm hoping that men watch and men can learn from this as well. Like, we're different. So instead of being so quick to be like, but she's so huffy, she's so fussy, she's so this, she's so that, just remember we're wired a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have the strength to be able to calm down and be logical about some stuff, and I'll be lit. And sometimes it's necessary to get a little lit, but if you want to help me out, just love on me and, let me, maybe you can teach me something with your inbred innate calmness or whatever.
That's how you keep them on their toes.
I mean, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, you gotta bring a snowball down in.
They can't be too sure of themselves.
Right. Yes. So we're going to try to commit to that, though. So we'll check in with each other, let's say on Thursday. And you know what I'm saying? 1 week from today.
You're going to see. I'm going to let you know if I was wowing the whole week and how, I'm going to definitely try to implement your 60-second, because even just before we hopped on here, I was literally writing an article, and then I just literally just turned this on, like, pop. I didn't even breathe before the last thing I was doing. And I do that all the time, where I just hop from one thing to the next and I just be running.
Yeah. No, I know that energy all too well. So I be breathing over here as much as I can remember. So we'll make sure. Yes, that we're breathing. No, so I love that. And I love Anthony for sharing that. So maybe I'll make a little card or something and post, and we'll share it with other people who need to get their wow life together.
Sorry.
So that kind of brings us to our third topic, is what you resonate with. Okay. So we tend to believe what we're constantly being fed and told, which can be kind of scary in this day and age. But if we become mindful of the images and words that we take in, how might we redefine ourselves, and where do we see ourselves? So I'm asking for this reason, right? It's like, if we become mindful of the images and words that we take in, how might we redefine ourselves? It's like, if we're always looking at Cardi B, if we're always Meg Thee Stallion, if we're always trapping and popping and did it, okay, how are we going to start to see ourselves? Are we going to go to the next party and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because that's what we're taking in? It's a small example, but I'm just saying, how can we become more mindful of what we take in, and how do you think we can redefine who we are? Because I feel like too, we're told so much of who we are. And we talked about this last time with our upbringing and with society and what they said that we should be. Imagine if we weren't looking or hearing any of that. How would you redefine yourself?
Ooh, that's a deep question, girl. And I think a lot of it is exactly the same work that a lot of companies are trying to do right now as it relates to tackling unconscious and conscious biases, because honestly, our brains are wired a particular way where we're fed something and we take it on just because our brains are wired that way. I think it starts with an A, the part of our brain that actually is responsible for making these types of things happen. And it's an amygdala, something.
The amygdala?
Amygdala, I think so. I think it's the amygdala. Let me not give the
amygdala, but I mean,
let me not go into the
we'll
the
Google
biology.
it later.
I'm gonna just be quiet.
Yeah.
Google it later. Yeah. But I've only been learning about this because in some of the trainings that I have to do is around cultural sensitivity and just again a lot of the HR work and things, and just basically being able to present things to people who basically have different perceptions or different realities. And at the end of the day, a lot of what they believe, it's learned. It's a learned thing. It's not that we're born with thinking that, you have to have, if we're thinking of it from the perspective of like a woman, these, perfect, measurements and proportions, and you know what I mean? And just how it's gotten like more outrageous, where it's like the legs are skinny and the booty is super huge. You know what I mean? Like all these standards, a lot of those things, it's kind of learned, and some of it is unconscious because it's something that is constantly put out in media. It's in music. It's reinforced in all of these different ways that we're not necessarily aware of. And so in order to redefine or see ourselves differently, this is why, representation matters, and different types of representation so important, because when you're only being fed one thing, our brains are just wired that way to take on. That's basically what it is. We all are biased in some type of way. And so it basically is an undoing and an awareness of like, oh, that actually isn't necessarily true. It's just whatever is the image or the thing that's been constantly fed and that my brain has basically adopted and I've learned. So yeah, that's a muscle and a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree. Did you have any thoughts on that, Key?
No, I mean, I definitely agree. It's like, and like with society and stuff, I feel like they try to project this image that they want us to consume, and they want us to be this particular type of female, or they want the Black woman to be this type of chick. And the type of, like, unfortunately right now, what's being pushed on young girls is the idea of being a prostitute. Like, that being not even a prostitute, but, finessing men for money, wearing little booty shorts, like that is the it thing. And you can become this grand thing if you are willing to show a little boobs here and there, if you're willing to, do whatever you want to do. But they're not really projecting or showcasing the smart, educated Black woman who could potentially have children at home that she's raising, but she's hustling, she's bustling, she's getting it done. She didn't, do anything for some change to get there. She didn't, she just fought her way to the top. And I feel like that image is not being projected because it's not what society wants our young girls to believe is the image of the Black woman. Like, so it's like, for me personally, I've always been very conscious of like what I consume, because I know what you consume is what you become. Like, so I don't really listen to rap music because I don't like the way they talk about Black women. I don't like the way they make Black women seem. We're like, are we allowed to, no curse words, right?
Yeah,
so,
just do your thing.
Okay, so we're hoes and we're bees. I still don't want to curse, but
I feel you.
Okay, but like we're all these things, and it's like it's what they push on us, like, and it kind of, I feel like when you listen to like hip hop music and stuff, it kind of makes you feel bad about yourself, like like as if you are less than, and it's like, wait a minute, is this really like who I'm supposed to be? Am I beneath this dude? Like, is this really like where I stand in society? But it's like, no, it's not really who you are. That's just who the world wants you to believe that you are, so that way you will stay down and you will not rise. And I just feel like that's kind of what's going on out here with like how they want us to feel about ourselves and things that they put out, the messaging and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with both of you guys. And it's, Anthony and I were talking about this because obviously he wrote a book for young children. It's, it's Black kids, a Black boy all throughout the book, but it's for kids, boys or girls, any race. But the whole point is for a young Black kid to have imaging that says, I am powerful, I am awesome, I am amazing, I am a king, like, and to get that rooted early, it's very necessary because, you know, like you both shared, it's like we're getting this messaging, and it's like we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day, how are we really seeing ourselves? And I think getting real about it, knowing that these little images and sentences and memes and things like that have crept in. Are we believing less about ourselves? Are we, you know, believing that we got to be bees and hoes to get this and that? Are we, even on a subtle level, it's so important that we're just aware of it. And I feel like when choosing a partner, I love to have conversations like these because I want to see where his head is at. Like, what are you listening to? How do you think about women? Are you even conscious of the stuff that we're being fed? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself out here as just another, like, you know, or are you a king level man? Do you believe that's possible for yourself? Do you see yourself as a multimillionaire? Me and actually Sunny in the chat, we were looking at a post from the Billionaires Boys Club or Yacht Club or something like that. And every time I'm seeing these yachts, and but if it ain't a rap video, it's just it's not brown people on the boats and in the you know what I'm saying, and all of this stuff. So it's like, do I believe I could be there? Am I dating a man that believes, that knows better, that can see beyond all of this stuff? So that's why I was kind of trying, like, because what you're constantly getting is what you eventually resonate with. Yeah. So once you start to lean that way, you start to take on mannerisms and behaviors and attitudes low key without even knowing it. Yeah. And then functioning that way, and it's not authentic, it's not who you are, and now it's influencing your decisions, your beliefs, who you date, when you know, all of these things. So I think that was very well said, and we covered that well, because, you know, one last thing about that and this imaging that I've noticed so much more lately is the Black family. When, I mean, I'm not seeing, it's not Cosby / Fresh Prince / you know, we ain't the, you know, bunch of kids in one house graduating from HBCUs. The father's a doctor. Uncle Phil's rich. I'm not seeing glorification of the Black family. So considering how media informs the way we see one another, especially with the Black family unit, do you feel like there's like low key been an attack on that vertical or what?
Of course. It has been, but we're also, I feel like, and I was just talking about this with my friend the other day, like, women are not producing as much anymore either. Like, it's not even, if I feel like when it comes to like the family unit, like back in the day, even my friend's mom, he's like the son of like 9 kids, and that was cool and that was normal, and that was like, yes, sis, you had 9 kids, yes, you building your tribe. But nowadays, when you're like, you know, within our generation, you have 2 kids, and it's like, oh God, 2 children, like, you know, you must have been messing around. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you know, and it's like, I feel like that whole structure that we used to watch when we were like kids and stuff, it doesn't even exist anymore, because in society, it's not, it's like shunned upon when you see, because whenever I see those memes where I'll see like a mom and she'll have like 5 or 6 kids and then the dad, and then in the comments it'll be like, ooh, she just couldn't keep her legs closed. You know, like it's never nothing positive, like, oh wow, look at this beautiful family thriving. All these, like, look at all these possibilities that she has. She has 6 different children who could potentially become great. Like, she just literally left a legacy. Like, we're not thinking in that terms anymore. Like, it's more so just, okay, be single, do whatever you got to do. Maybe you might have 1 or 2 kids and you're good to go. Like, that's all you need. Don't worry about the rest. You know?
Great point. And I mean, I have to agree. I've seen some of those points. Keandra, what were your thoughts? Because I knew you were, you know, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like, I think there's something to be said about that. Like, on top of the fact that women aren't having kids, they're not having as many kids or having kids at all. Like, they're choosing to just be, you know, the auntie supreme, the cool kicking it auntie that's traveling, doing her thing, right? You also have, I know for me and my generation, the bulk of all of us come from blended families. Even though we may have had at some point a 2-parent household, it may not have been with our biological family, you know, or father. Like, I know that definitely wasn't the case for me. You know, my mother has also been married twice, you know, and so the nuclear family unit, I think, that was presented isn't necessarily the same, you know. And so I think that, not that people aren't I don't know that the family values or that there's really an attack on it. I think that we're just defining family a lot differently. Like it's because I know for me, there's people who are outside of my blood relatives who are my friends, that I consider to be my family, or, just extended people that I, love or am closer to than some of my actual family. And so I think that it's kind of like an opportunity where I don't know, the dynamic or just that family unit isn't as defined in the way that, it's not just the mom, dad, and the kids, it's auntie, grandma, it could be multi-generational. It can be a village of, you know, the mom and, especially for the single moms, like a group of single moms who've come together and are supporting each other and are each other's family. And so I think that there's just different ways to think of it. And even now that, there's more of I don't want to say an emphasis, but we're seeing much more of like representation of same-sex couples and their children, so it's just, I think family unit, it's being defined a lot differently than what was, the 50s and 60s, cleaver.
Not the 50s. Dang, girl,
I know,
No,
not
I
like
think-
that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, like that trickled down to, and influence what we saw on TV with, the Cosbys and, Family Matters and all of that, like all of those things, those shows, I think there was still a bit of a standard where that unit was kind of like, kind of set the tone. And so, we have like what One-on-One where it's
Black sees a single
Black
dad, and
single
then
dad,
I got a
Yeah.
daughter. Yeah.
sister, so I think that like things evolved, but it's just, I guess, leaving space for the family unit to look different or more reflective than just what it does now.
I mean, I am all here for it because I do understand how only seeing one way of a family looking can make other people, like you said, same sex, or people who divorce and got this and that. Like there's all kinds of things that happen. And I think I might have some kind of a bias because I was raised like a doggone Huxtable. Like it was mom, dad, we were all there, holidays, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm expecting that. I have waited in my life until I'm finding the right person because I want that. I just want to be with one man. I want to have one child or two child, however many children God's blessed me with, but I just want us to be all under one roof because I was raised that way. So I guess maybe it's me personally that doesn't feel like it feels weird to me because I'm not seeing that. So all I have is my memories because I'm not really seeing that type of a life be glorified in a way that makes me even feel like it's still possible. So that's when I have to check myself and just be honest about what resonates with me. And what resonates with me is mom, dad, kids, like some real happy family stuff. We baking cookies right after Thanksgiving. We do Christmas cookies and put the tree up. We make each other Easter baskets. I'm like, I am all about that life. Okay. Like I'm about to be a little Miss Susie homemaker.
I love that. All the traditions. No, that's
Listen.
special.
Yes.
Like I'm all here for it. Like I always tell my friends all the time, like I'm literally not gonna just have kids because I don't know what it is with men these days. I've had offers to like have children with guys. Like you should have my baby. Like no, I should be in a relationship with you. I should be married to you. We should want to be together, and then we have babies. Like so, I don't know if it's just this generation. And I just be like, I don't know. Like, I'm the same. Like, I want my husband. I want kids with the same man. I want us to live in the same house. I want to take time off to be a housewife. No.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Like,
sounds good
like,
to me.
I want all of that. And I'm literally not going to settle until I get it. Like, I'm not just, and it's like, yeah, anything can happen. You can get all that and you can still end up, in a situation. But let me get to that situation. But in the beginning, I wanted this. And I'm not going to settle until I have that. Like,
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at it. And my parents are actually, they divorced after 27 years. So I don't want to make life sound perfect. There were a lot of things that went on in our family, but I just know that what satisfied my heart the most was the unit. I mean, I don't want to be like, I'm obsessed with it, but I am because there's just so much love there. I always felt safe, cared for, happy. I felt like so there's just an essence of that, yes, all of the new remix things. This is 2020. We got all kinds of stuff going on. But let's not forget, just the not organic, but what's the word? Or not organic family. I can't think of the word. Or
Nuclear.
nuclear.
Nuclear family.
Yeah, and organic. The nuclear family.
I was like, I mean, it could be organic too.
I
It
mean,
could be
organic, not genetically modified, whatever. The nuclear family. Yes. Okay. I want to make sure I got to everything. Okay. How much do you feel? Ooh. Okay. So, how much do you feel that the constant images we are fed about relationships and men create disappointment? I have to do a whole episode on this with the men. Honey, because this fairy tale, every time I wake up, I feel like there is another part of the fairy tale that life is like, snap out of it, girl. This is real life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, are we resonating with some stuff because it's true to who we are or because it was fed to us? So again, these constant images were fed about relationships and men. Do you feel like that is creating disappointment in you? And the fairy tale that we were sold is BS?
The fairy tale absolutely is BS.
What parts? Like, tell me about what, you know what I mean?
I feel like all of it, like how the from the moment of like when you start to like someone, the dating, the courtship, even the pathway, I think is a fairy tale. The preparation for it is a fairy tale. The what it takes to stay in it is a fairy tale. The what to expect, this idea of some man coming to save a woman is a fairy tale.
Yeah, that's a fairy tale.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just, it's so much of it. Even, parts of the idea of a nuclear family, even some of that is, it can be kind of a fairy tale. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand.
Like it just, especially with knowing just how many people are either not, they're again coming from a product of a blended family, or they're just, from a single parent household. I think that outweighs, the actual nuclear family. And so even though I know I would prefer and have, the nuclear dreams as well, even though I come from a blended family, there's parts of it where it's like some of that can be a fairy tale. I don't even know if it's a fairy tale, but you just life is just basically different than some of the different ideals that I think have been placed on us, and just the standard and the pathway and this linear approach to it all. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that the things that we were fed could potentially block blessings. And I only say that because, and I just think about myself. I always like, I'm sorry, I can't date a man with kids, or like I can't do this or I can't do that, because you're and it's like when you're growing up, you're taught like, girl, don't date no man with no more than 2 kids, or da 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 da. And it's like, but that could have been your blessing.
Yeah.
But it's that you were told like that's an abomination. So it's like you did everything you could to block yourself from staying away from those people, when it's like, maybe that's not how it is. Like, maybe you are allowed to talk to people with children and it might be okay. Maybe you won't have the same outcome that your aunt had or that your mom had, or, maybe your situation might be different. But I think we just play into these things that, we were fed, and we just run with it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, because we're just raised like that. You get taught something and that's what it is. But I agree with you with the blocking your blessing, because it could be beautiful. Like, Keandra, you came from a blended family. I'm sure your stepdad is like, that's amazing. He got to be a part of your life in that way. I find myself dating men with kids all the time. And
oh, really?
I do. Yeah. It just kind of happens that way. But, I've had sometimes it's been really hard and really messy where I've had to be laughing.
laughing.
We be texting too much, too much. But, yeah,
she said that like, girl.
Sometimes it just didn't work out so well. And this was my own personal experience. However, there are times where I believe, it can be a blessing. I mean, I don't talk to her all the time, but I'm still in touch with one of my ex's daughters. She done grown up, had a baby. Like, there's all of these things. So it's like, and it's a blessing. She's so sweet. She's amazing. And because at the time, her sister, even though her sister had a different father, I'm a big sister. So it was just so cute to have two little girls that just wanted to be a part of my life because I was cool and dating her dad and from LA and all of these things. Like, it really can bless you in many different ways. And I would not like if I had to cut off all this and all that just because somebody said, don't do this, don't do that. We got to go through our own stuff and kind of make up our own minds on how we navigate this, because what one person can tolerate, or like you said, what your auntie went through, that might not be my story. And that just might be it. It might just be that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and I do think there's something to be said. Sorry to cut you off. Like, I think things, as you mature and as you get older, some of those things change too.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Both people are coming to the table with life, you know what I mean? Like life experiences. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, just some of those expectations that someone has been on the exact straight and narrow, you know, it's unrealistic. And then you realize that some of those things that you were fed really isn't that important, you know, like, so I think it changes, and you as you evolve and as you mature, not that I don't think it's about settling, but I think that you can refine the things that you feel like, you know, this is actually more important than, you know, him having to be a certain height, or, you know what I'm saying, having a certain credit score, or, you know, income, you know, like all
I was like,
things.
he got to be tall now, girl. But okay.
Well,
she need her good credit.
I am rude. Look, I do not date short men. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm 5'10". It's just, it doesn't make sense. I'm not here for the Kimura Russell.
See,
no, I'm 5'10".
So most men are already taller than me. So I've never really had the.
Yeah, see,
I'm 5'7", but which is to me short. But I literally date men who are like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Like,
girl, you need to fall back. You could do a little 5'11". You could do a 6'1". Like, save that 6'5" for me.
I went on a date with someone who was like 5. I think he was like 6 feet, 5'10", and I just remember like that's good to me. And like because I think about it like when I'm in heels. If I'm
Me
in
too.
Heels, if I'm like in heels and I can like look at you in the eye, or if I'm like looking down at you or anything, it's a wrap.
problem.
I can't do it.
I guess again, like for me, because I'm not tall.
You are tall though. 5'5". That's
5'5" ain't tall.
No, that's not tall.
That's average.
Yeah, I have long legs, but I'm not tall. I don't think I've ever looked down at a man. But yeah, I could see how that would feel problematic.
It is. Like, I just cannot.
All right, we are so silly.
I love tall men. Anything over like 6'4", like it's good to go.
Is there a too tall? Because I have dated a too tall. And
but what's too tall to you?
Too tall was 6'5".
Oh, that's
that's right up my alley. When I put on heels, I'm 6'2", so we right in there.
Yeah,
we right in there.
When I put on heels, I'm like 6'1", so it's like we good.
It just felt really
Wait, how tall
ridiculous.
Are you? You're like 5'9"?
I'm 5'10".
Oh, okay, you're tall. Yeah, you got it. It's a wrap.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like, but other than that, Keandra, what you were saying about all the other things, right on point, girl. I agree, but you got to have your non-negotiables.
Yeah, it's not.
You can have kids, but please don't be short.
In certain regions,
what?
Certain things in certain regions don't matter. Certain things in certain regions may or may not matter either. Like, is it a big deal to have a car? And it is in LA, but if you're on the East Coast?
Well, see, this is my thing. If you're in LA and you don't have a car, you better have the Uber money, or you better still have a way to get around. Like, that's my thing. If you live here and you need me to come pick you up, or you need my help, then it ain't gonna work. But if you're independent and you just don't have a car because it's just not important to you, but I know that you're gonna still get from point A to point B because you can figure it out, then you don't really need to have a car. It's not that necessary. But so like
I
those
didn't have
type
a
of
car,
things.
and I spent that car note and insurance and gas money on Uber. And I've also dated guys who didn't have cars that would Uber to me, and have them pick me, and then we'll go. And I love that too. So that works, you know, like you said, the different regions, but the whole point is you get to define and decide what that is for you.
Yep.
Nobody needs to tell you what that is. You have all of the room to see what works for you. I love it. This was such an amazing conversation, you guys. Like, thank you so much. So just little takeaways just to wrap this up. Well, and I feel like we kind of talked about it, but just to kind of go over and wrap everything up, what did we glean from this king? And what is, you know, you can either share one thing from King Speak that blessed you, or just a story where you have had to manage your words in the heat of the moment.
I knew we both look like, ooh, I don't want to talk. I don't want to rehash me managing my moment, my words.
I know. I'm trying to think. Can I think of anything either? I mean, I can just say overall, I've gotten better watching my mouth, because I know that my intention in my heart is not to hurt people. But I also know I'm very passionate and I'm very emotional. I'm also a Gemini. There's just a lot going on over here. So, you know, I've gotten a lot better, like I said, with all of the things that we do. And I think it just comes with the inner work and all of the stuff that we're talking about. I think one day, I feel like it was last year, maybe 2 years ago. So I don't know how relevant, but my sister is a challenge for me. I have two sisters, and one of them sometimes is just challenging. And, you know, I do a lot of self-work and self-mastery and all this, but I'll never forget one time. I don't remember what it was. She did something, and it really irked me, but I was so proud of my response and that I didn't flash and react and all this. I was like, did I grow? I think I'm growing, because I'm not a spaz right now. Like, when really I want to pop off, I'm like, no, I found everything in me to show up the right way. So anybody, don't be discouraged about your self-mastery work. Don't be discouraged. Sometimes you're not going to see the work overnight, or you're not going to have an opportunity to just be like, oh, I'm healed. But something will come up, test you, and show you. And when you respond differently, I mean, that was really exciting. I was genuine. I feel like I had to text a friend, like, girl, I think I grew. Because, you know what I mean? So all of this was so important, and I love your input on everything. So let's just jump into news and gossip real quick. Am I the only one who watches Real Housewives of Potomac?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but I think the clip that you're referencing, I've seen it in like the Instagram feed before.
Yes. Okay. So we'll go through this quick, but Candiace and Monique. So the questions I had was, who's most responsible for the altercation and who went too far? Do words carry as much emotional violence as physically hitting someone? So maybe let's not think about housewives, right? Let me paint the picture for you. You got a girl. You are introduced to her. You see her. She has mannerisms. You're like, oh my God, like, you're so funny. You're just so whatever. You be hitting me. I just might have to hit you right back. Like, she's so fun. She's so funny. They become tight. Sister, oh, boo, honey, you at my house picking up the kids. We kicking it. Things get rocky, and y'all both got a mouth. One's a little hood, and one's really not about that life. So what happened is they had a rift that separated them. And why I included this in the power of your words is because the heated argument, the clip you probably saw, they're in a wine bar. Everything's good right up until the end. The little one that's not about that life starts, oh, so what you gonna do? So what you gonna say? And what you gonna, you know, all of that. And so what are you gonna do type of a thing? So then the other girl was like, what you want me to do? She starts flicking her hair like, well, what you want me to do? Like, you want me to do something? And then it just turned into a fight. So the reason why I brought this up, and so maybe you can answer without knowing the Potomac drama, just because, I mean, you guys, why aren't you watching the show? I love it. It's really good. It's not just like,
it's just too many of them. It's like, I'd be overwhelmed.
It's not a bunch of catty messes. Well, it just depends. It's fun. I like it, but whatever. So do you think words carry as much as emotional violence as physically hitting somebody? Like, do you think provoking somebody in that way warrants getting popped?
Of course.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my thing is, like, if you're not, because I am not, I don't fight. Like, you know, like, I don't fight. Like, but that does not mean that I'm not going to tell you how I feel. Like, you know, and if you hit me, you're going to get hit back. So it's like, I think if you want something, then if you put it out there, then don't be upset if you receive exactly what you asked for. Like, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, I think like you do have to be mindful. If that's not what you're wanting, then don't go out there asking for it. Like, don't act like that's really who you are if it's not who you are. Like, you know, but at the same time, you still got to stick up for yourself and speak your mind.
Yeah, I feel
Fine
that
line.
too. I feel that. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a punk. But my mouth is slick and so I know that my words cut and can hurt, and I can say some stuff below the belt, and I know, and I know it because I've done it. And so those are, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm ashamed of it because I felt in the
You
moment,
said how
like,
you
yeah,
felt.
Yeah.
say what it was, but because it was personal and true and like said with my sarcastic flair, that it kind of, I know that it cut deep. And so I do believe that words can be just as violent as, actually hitting someone or hurting them just as much, because it's the thing that you can, that you'll remember. So yeah, they're absolutely, someone's mouth or just the things that they say, emotional abuse and verbal abuse is just as powerful and hurtful as physical.
Emotional
Yeah.
abuse is worse.
Oh, that
It's
is,
way worse.
Mm-hmm.
man.
My Shea Butter baby told me that. You guys
No.
listen to Ari Lennox?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah. Your
She
shea butter
said.
baby.
But no, words are definitely, they hit way deeper than like someone physically hitting you, or like, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd have to agree. So I've never been physically hit by somebody, but my ex-fiance was very emotionally abusive, and the scarring that it really took me a long time to heal from that. Like, to have somebody say some of the stuff that he said to me, or the games he played, it's just like, my God, like, so it's wild. But, with this Real Housewives thing, that's what I thought, because the way they're kind of playing it is that you should never put your hands on anybody, da, da, da. But if somebody's in my face talking about what you gonna do, you gonna do, don't ask me what you asking
Yeah,
me
you
right now.
asked
And I'm
for
not a
it.
fighter, but you in my face and you're
Yeah.
asking me. We're a little tipsy. We used to have love for each other. Now we got a rift. Things have built up. And I thought it was very dangerous and immature and irresponsible of Candiace to get in Monique's face like that. Monique had her own issues to work out,
Well,
but
who won the fight?
yo, Monique blacked out. She grabbed her head. She didn't let go. She was like, I'm gonna kill.
Was that
Like,
the one who
Monique is a
asked?
thug.
Was that the one who asked for it?
Nah, the one who asked for it got what she asked for.
See?
Oh, well, that's what. Well, as long as.
But now
as
she
long,
pressing charges. The other girl's starting to be
I hate that type of.
alienated.
I hate
All of
that
the
type of
women are
stuff.
starting to alienate the other girl. Like, she don't have no self-control. It's like, ho, 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 ho.
I had a whole situation like that happen where like a girl, like it was like, I don't know, where were we at, like New York or something, but
Ooh.
she provoked me, and then after she like threatens to call the cops, text one of my friends like, oh, come get her, she's over here trying to attack me. And I'm like, first of all, I am a saint, I would never attack anyone.
Ever.
You attacked me. And now you're afraid. Like, I don't get it. Like, yeah. So I think I don't like the concept of or women who, whatever, ask for things and then go and call the police, or like, like make it like turn themselves into the victim. Like, like I hate that whole victim thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Well, I just had to address that because I was like, y'all better leave Monique alone. And I actually like Candiace, but I don't like that stuff, that punk stuff either. Like, come on now. If you want to get about it, if you're not about that life, don't be doing all of the,
Yeah, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to
Don't
like.
start none.
Yeah,
Won't be
like,
none.
don't start none, won't be none. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Won't be none.
Well, my loves, this has been an amazing chat. We are beyond our little hour because we could go. If we really wanted to go, we could go. But
There's about 3 more topics that's come out that I feel like we could still be going.
correct. We're going to have to come back on that because there's just so much. There's so much we've been seeing in the media lately, and so many opinions and things like that. So we're just going to keep it rolling. You guys are always invited back. I love your feedback so much. One quick thing I want to share with the audience. Try the wow technique. And if you can't get to the wow, where you're in a heated moment and you need to ask, why am I angry about this thing? How serious is this thing? And based on what I can control, what can I do about it? If you don't feel like you can get there after you take your breath, just start with taking the breath. because that will be a victory for the day. We want to make sure we're not cursing our lives and alienating our friends and the people we love and spouse and things like that, because, we had a moment with our mouth. So, before we get out of here, you guys shout yourself out, whatever programs, shows you got coming up, your Instagram, everything, so the people know where to find you and connect with you, and we'll bounce.
Okay. I mean, I'm in the middle, so I guess I'll go.
Yeah, you start, girl.
But hey, everyone, Q&A, you guys can follow me. This time I put my Instagram handle down there. If you guys go to my website, qrenee.com, I actually just uploaded some new interviews today. So anyone who's interested in breaking into the music industry, I have a video up there that I talked with Clinton Sparks.
Clinton Sparks.
Yeah, get
I'm a fan. Get familiar.
So he literally breaks down how to break into the music industry. So just go to my website and you can watch that interview if that's what you want to do with your life.
Hey. And I am Keandra Doss. This time I put my Instagram handle, so you can follow me at Keandra D on Instagram and Keandra Doss on Facebook. And I also have a nice little intimate group called the Surrendered Society that is on Facebook, where there is a lot of just a safe space really to just be able to be ourselves. A lot of the work that I do is around healing self-esteem, especially for the professional Black woman in corporate America, because I believe just corporate America is one of the most damaging places, especially as it relates to the Black woman. And so a lot of the work that I'm doing is around that. No specific events that are coming up right now, but definitely please follow me there and you can get some great content.
And stay tuned. Yes. And thank you guys so much for watching. I actually did watch some of your interview, Renee, and it was good. And I'm in the Surrendered Society. So come check us out over there. It really is a game changer, a great space. I mean, all the content and the questions and the interaction, I love it. I'm so here for it. And it's kind of hard to get into this group, that group, but this is a group that I want to be in that serves me and my higher purpose. So I love it. It's such a good sister circle. And then, of course, you guys know me. I'm Jaimi Alexander. You can follow me there. Please follow at Kings Speak. We're going to have another gentleman coming. Not safe for work. He is a kind of like a tipsy cupcake maker. His name is Brandon, and we're going to talk about some stuff because he bakes with his daughter. So it's really cool. Awesome single dad. So we'll get into that on Tuesday and some of the dynamics and things that go on there, and come back next Thursday and talk about it. So yes, please follow King Speak. Please follow all of us. Stay tuned for the conversations. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like, share, comment, follow. If you appreciated anything, let us know, because the more we know, the more we can continue to serve. Okay. So y'all enjoy your Thursday night. Holla at your girl.
Bye.